My name is Jessie Ace. I'm part of a group of enabled warriors that you've probably never heard of. We're fighting back against our invisible illness and taking the dis out of disability. We don't give sympathy to our symptoms. They enable us to be the warrior that we are. If you ask doctors and nurses, they'd say what we're doing is impossible. But pushing the limits of our conditions is something that we have to break through every single day. So we push the limits. We are mentally strong, and we can do anything. The question is, how far can we push those limits? This podcast will give you the answers. I'm Jessie Ace, and this is the Disabled to Enabled podcast. Enabled Warriors, on our show today is a self-confessed sports junkie who is so dedicated to her fitness routine that she even carried on her fitness ban whilst in hospital, and I really want to hear more about that, Susan. After going through her diagnosis at such a young age, she was recognised as an ambassador by the MS Society in Ireland and gone on to do talks and media work to raise awareness of MS and share her story. Enabled Warriors, please welcome my friend from Bucharest, the fabulous owner of Fit Fusion, Susan Carey, everybody. Woo! Hi!
Hi!
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm excellent.
Fabulous.
That's some intro. Wow.
So Susan, let's get started by discussing what happened that day when everything hit the fan, because you were diagnosed in 2004. You were just 14 years old. Like, you were struggling to hit your ball at the time and play basketball, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Like, what happened?
Okay, so growing up, my family would have been very involved in both basketball and golf. So naturally, I was thrown in there. I loved it. I really enjoyed the teamwork. And then with golf, you know, there's so much concentration involved, and it's just a fantastic, skillful game. So I'd be kind of competitive, you would say, a little bit competitive. So, you know, from Bucharest. I was out playing golf one day. It was actually a father-daughter tournament. And I was there and I was like hitting the ball, but I wasn't hitting it. And I was getting so frustrated. I was like, what is going on? My swing is perfect. What is happening? And they were like, Susan, you're nowhere near the ball. I was like, what are you on about here? Anyway, I just got frustrated about that. And then I was playing basketball one day with my school team, and they would pass me the ball and I would go to catch it, but then the ball would follow on. It was out of bounds. And I was like, what happened there? What's the crack here? Like, so I was actually going for the wrong ball. So I realized that, you know, like it wasn't something just on the day that happened, or that because it happened to both sports. And I realized there was an issue here. So I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, I need to go and get glasses. There's something happening here. I need glasses. And like I would blab on and kind of complain. So she kind of took no notice for a while, and then she was like, "Fine, I'll bring you to the optician." So with that, went to the optician. He just had a little look behind the eyes, and he asked me to step out of the room. So then he spoke to my mum, and apparently what was said was, June, my mum, there's something at the back of her eye. I think it could be a tumor or it could be MS. And like, looking back as an adult now, I don't know how my mother kept, you know, like, because I don't remember her crying. I don't know how she kept that in. I imagine the worry. She's like, what a woman. So anyway, actually, within 48 hours, I went to my, probably, I was going to say next county, but those who are listening probably don't. In Ireland, there's counties. So it's roughly a 2-hour drive away. And went through, I'm going to say, close on to 15 tests. Loads to do with, obviously, my eyes, things like that. MRIs, just various. I can't even remember. There was different colors. There was so much going on there. And I was in the hospital, and they performed various more tests, and then they did a lumbar puncture. Well, the medical student did the lumbar puncture, so I was his guinea pig. Um, so, as my mom says, he went in about 5 times with different size tubes. He couldn't get it, so
Oh my
then
gosh.
the pediatric neurologist came in, and she just did it straight away, like one go. She's like, "What is going on here?" And she just did it straight away. So I'm sure you know yourself, can't really get rid of that memory in your life.
No. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So yeah, and then I went back home to my hometown, and yeah, within, I'm gonna say, 2 weeks or so, I was asked to come back up for an appointment with both my parents. I When initially, it's when you're in pediatrics, I can only tell from my own experience. I'm not too sure about others when they were diagnosed, but I was kind of I guess I think I was one of the youngest in the country at the time. So I was the show and tell. So I was the one sitting there with, I'm gonna say, 7 med students, other doctors, neurologists, nurses. There was a whole host of people. They all had to go at all the different, the neurological exams, follow my finger, and touch my nose, touch your nose, touch your finger, touch my finger, things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the balanced ones. And then I went outside, and the neurologist spoke to my parents, and then I was brought in, and they said, "Oh, Susan, so you have this thing called MS, multiple sclerosis." And I was like, "All right, okay. Do I need glasses?" This is great. No, Susan, you don't need the glasses. All right. I really wanted glasses. So I was kind of a bit sick, to be honest. so, yeah, there was actually a girl in my hometown who was diagnosed, and my mom said to me afterwards, they said, "Oh, there will be a nurse down to you." And to be honest, it's a bit of a blur. I was too young. I was 14. Like I didn't know. Um, just on the way down in the car, again, my parents, I don't know how they didn't crumple into pieces. I don't remember that. And that's something you would remember.
Mm.
So the strength of them as a unit, like, I think they're amazing, like couple goals. um, so went home, and my mom said, "Oh, do you know X's daughter Y? Well, Y has that too, and told me." And I just remember that something happened to that person's daughter, and it was kind of, my town is quite small, so not that it was the talk of the town, but it
Mm.
was, oh Jesus, do you know what happened? And
Oh
it was kind
god.
of like a negative straight away, straight off the bat. And I was like, "Oh, I have that, but I'm fine. Um, I'm okay." And I just needed like a patch, to watch TV. I couldn't watch TV for a long time, or what have you. And then
Mm.
the next thing, the rosary bead starts coming in in the
Oh.
post, in the mail, and the knitted jumpers and the mass cards, and you're kind of thinking, "Am I okay here? What the?" So then you build up a kind of a fear around it, and you're like, "This is awful. This is the worst thing. Am I going to die? Am I?" And then you do what you're not supposed to do. You go and you research.
Mm.
Um, so you're like, "What is this?" And then you read a tiny bit, but again, you can't understand it. And you have a list of questions that you're told to compile. And first one, will I be in a wheelchair? Am I going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life? Am I going to die? Am I going to, that's the fear. Like, that's the first thing you're thinking.
So how long was it between getting diagnosed and first meeting like an MS nurse or something?
So I guess that would have been, it's really hard to tell. Like, this is going back 15 years.
I
So
know.
it's like, it didn't feel very much to me. Like, oh, I do remember when I came down. Oh, I had steroids. I had steroids. I do remember that. I should really ask people my actual story. I remember I had steroids, and it did help with the double vision. So it kind of morphed it together. And since I think it was only 3 days of steroids was my first bout ever. And now I only have double vision actually to the left, but it's so normal to me now. It doesn't hinder me in any way,
So you have
at
that
all.
every day?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
every day. But
Wow.
again, it's so like,
Normal to you.
yeah, it's so normal
Yeah.
that I'm just like, it's just eyesight. I don't see the difference. So it doesn't cause me any issues or anything. Um, but yeah, the MS nurse came down then, and the drug that they chose for me
Mhm.
um was an interference, so it was injectable. So I was like, oh no, little did I know that needles would be a very common thing in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, what's this? And I was terrified because you had to like stab it into muscular into your thigh.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
oh no, no way can I do that.
So what was the name of the actual medication? Can you remember?
Avonex.
Was it Avonex? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Avonex. So that was my first treatment.
Wow.
Was Avonex, and I was petrified. Now she did give me a pen that you click the inject.
Mhm.
Do you know it? You click the injection to the side of it,
Yeah.
and then twist it and press the button, and it shoots down for you.
Mm.
But even at that, I was like, no, not happening. So my father, this was like once a week. So my father took on the task of calming me down for 40, 45 minutes every week. I cried. I didn't want it. And he was the one. And he was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Okay, 1, 2. And this went on for how long was I on that? Oh my God, the poor man.
Mhm.
Patience of a saint. Um, it went on for, I can't even remember, like, yeah, because my next one, it must have been 4 years, I guess.
4 years, blimey.
5 years.
Gosh.
Yeah, it went on for quite some time. Obviously,
Mm.
as I got older, the dramatics kind of toned down a bit. But certainly for the first 2 years, there was a lot of, "Ugh." And then because it was done on a Friday night, it
Mm.
meant and the ill feeling afterwards, the chills going through your body, the absolute weakness. It was awful. It was awful.
Mhm.
Um, so going into bed and what have you. So it was like, as I was kind of breaching into my mid-teens, then I was like, oh no, I want to stay at my friend's house. Oh, you
Yeah.
can't, Susan, because you have to do your injection. And then the fights would happen.
Mm.
I can do it the next day. She said I can do it the next day. And then, oh my God, my parents, like how they dealt with me. A teenager with a chronic illness going through emotions anyway, then this slashed on top of it. It's like, wow. So yeah, that went on for a while, but
Mm. It is hard.
yeah.
It is. I can't even imagine what it must have been like being 14 years old and having to do that every week. That's just
Yeah,
insane. I
yeah,
mean,
it was.
I was diagnosed at 22, and I was put in on a beta interferon for my first treatment too, and I could not do it
Mm,
either. It was the worst thing, and I had to get my boyfriend to do it at the time, and it was just awful because your life revolved around that injection. It was just
It's just
crazy.
not a natural thing to stab yourself.
It's really not.
Not like, and it's intermuscular, so you get in there, like,
Oh,
that's not.
it's crazy. So mine was between like the layer of skin and the muscle starting. So it was that like tiny little difference.
Okay,
So
okay.
it was designed to go into fat, but the problem was I was so thin at the time I had no fat on me anywhere. So it
Oh
literally was
my,
just going into the muscle, and it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life.
oh my
So yeah,
goodness.
I've got total respect for you on that one. I could not last 4 or 5 years on it. My God.
Oh my god, I seriously feel for you though. That, oh god, that's wow.
It was not easy. It was 3 times a week as well, so it wasn't just.
3 times a week?
Yeah, it was 3 times a week. So I'd be depressed all the time because, like, I felt I couldn't, like, enjoy the day I had without the injection because I was dreading the next day with the injection, if you know what I mean.
It's
So
so limiting.
it was
Like
awful, yeah.
once a week was limiting, but 3
3
times
times
a
a
week,
week.
that's literally your life. Uh,
Yeah.
People may not even understand that. They may go, "Oh, it's only an injection." It's like,
"Oh, you
no,
can take
no,
it easy." Like, no, no,
no.
it's
Just
one
go
of the
to bed
hardest
for an
things.
hour. Doesn't really work that way, but you
No.
know.
It's really not. So if you're listening out there and you are on an injectable medication, I have full respect for you. And if you want to just moan about it, please just do it. Just send me a message and just moan about it because you have every right to moan about it. It is the worst thing in the world, personally.
Well,
Anyway,
that was only at the start. I've had 2 treatments since. I'm fine.
what kind of treatment are you on now? Are you on something different or the same thing? Or?
Yeah, so after Avonex, I went on Tysabri
Mm-hmm.
or Tysabri, whatever you call it. So that worked quite well for a while. But my personal life, there was a bereavement in the family, which I feel really, I feel my emotions really overtook my body. Basically, it was a
Mm.
very stressful time, and I really feel that's when things didn't really pan out with that medication. But it was so sweet because I had my 21st birthday at one of my infusions.
Oh
So they
wow,
had like, I know, so they had all like balloons for me and a cake. And my neurologist gave me like this little sweetest pearl of a necklace.
that's so
I'm really
nice.
sorry to all the Irish people, and they know who my neurologist is, and they were like, "Where's my necklace?" But I was special. I still am. um, so it was so nice. What an experience there. I'll always remember my 21st.
Oh
Um,
wow. Maybe not for the
but,
reasons that you expected to.
oh yeah, Fred. But after that, then I just kept progressing. Um, I kept progressing. So she suggested this new trial drug that was on the market, that there wasn't much information back at that time about it, and only specific people could go on it, and they didn't know the risks. And I suppose, in her view, I was young, so it
Mm.
was roughly when I was late 21, kind of maybe 22, I guess. Yeah, something around that. Or maybe I was 23. I don't know. I can't remember. So like at that time, she's like, "Look, Susan, you're so young. I don't know what this means for you in the future. Um, this is the kind of most first line treatment there is at the moment. Um, I don't know what it means in terms of fertility. I don't know what Joe, it's a lot."
Mm.
And at that age, the last thing you're thinking, well, the last thing I was thinking was about fertility. I was like, like that was just not on the cards. So I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "I can't make the decision for you, but I really feel this is the best option. Go away, do as much research as there is," which was very, very minimal. But yeah, so I said, "Look, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to do it."
And this was
You know,
on Tysabri, was it?
this is when I was coming off Tysabri.
Okay.
Tysabri wasn't, I was still progressing. So it
Okay.
just wasn't aggressive enough for me. Um, so with that being said, I started Lemtrada when it was Ablotuzumab at the time because it was only a trial. So I had that at the trial basis. So it was 5 days, and I couldn't get that done. My neurologist actually lives 10 minutes away from me.
Oh wow, that's a
Her,
bonus.
her office is 10 minutes away from me. I am so privileged to be in this position. She's one of the top neurologists in the country, and she lives 10 minutes, her office is 10 minutes away from me. It's and listening to other people's stories, I actually feel quite guilty. It's like, not guilty, but I'm like, I just don't want to mention it because it's like I have it easy. Like I really do. Like 10 minutes away. If I need a mission, I'd have a bed that day or following day, the latest.
Oh,
Private
wow.
room, fabulous. Private hospital, gorgeous. MRI right there, 10 minutes away from me. No, I'm so lucky. But you couldn't get that done. Um, in that hospital, I had to go to again where I was diagnosed. So it was kind of a full circle. I had to go back to where I was diagnosed, but I wasn't going into pediatrics. I was up in the adult section. And it was basically in an isolation room, 5 days of steroids first for an hour, followed by the infusion for an hour. Which, okay, it was difficult, but at that time I was so dependent on other people walking. I couldn't walk independently. So some days um no, sorry, every day I had to hold on to someone, linking someone's arm. So this went on
Mm.
for years. If they had to go get something, I would have to hold a piece of furniture or like a pole in the street or something like that. My balance was off, my legs, the power went, but I was still upright. It came to a stage that I actually did have to use a wheelchair a couple of times. Just a handful of times, nothing, whatever, because I couldn't get around, and I actually had an injury at that time as well. Um, so there was no way of me getting around. I literally anywhere, just scaling the walls. You can imagine the anxiety going in somewhere where the toilets, people are looking at me. That seat is too high, that seat is too low, I'll never get up, it's not close to there. Constantly analyzing every single second of the day. It
Mm.
was so stressful. So basically, this is the turnaround of the story. I had the infusion on day 3. Now my mother was there every night. She stayed across the road. So on day 3, day 4, I guess, I was starting to feel a bit better after, because I passed out there 1 or 2 nights and a lot of sickness and things. An aggressive treatment.
Mm.
But on day, I think 3 or 4, I was like, no, I'm going to get to that lift. I'm going to walk to that lift without holding on to anything. And she was like, okay, right. And she came out to the hall with me, and I walked, say, a quarter of the way. And I was like, I remember the first time I did it without holding onto the banister. I was like, oh my God, I am shit hot at life. This is amazing. um, so then for the next couple of days, because it was 5 days of the infusion, but I had to stay an extra 2 nights for observation. Um, and anyway, eventually I got to the lift, unassisted, unaided. Now I was like a snail, but I did it. And that just gave me the confidence, the belief, the hope it gave me was, it's so hard to describe the feeling. I'm sure you probably came across this feeling before. It's immense, and it changed my life really. And when I got home, then my local, like my family home is just by the beach,
Oh.
so we would go to the seaside, and there's like a little um port, I guess, like, so there'd be a lot of boats and that. So the pier, there's a shorter pier and a longer pier. So my dad and I would walk the short pier most days. And if I got to the end of it, which is like only really, in hindsight, it would take you 30 seconds to walk up and down, like, well, probably 2 minutes to walk up and down. It's nothing. Um, but if I got to the end, I'd have to tip the can. And I remember I had a crutch at the start. I used a crutch, and then slowly, and then he'd be there, and I kind of tip his hand if I needed. He would keep his hand out, and I would kind of have mine hovering over, because there was still that confidence wasn't there.
Mm.
It was all kind of mind over matter, I guess, and that's when I kind of that part of my journey kind of started as well. I started to realize, actually, Susan, when you're calm in your mind controls your body here. So then my life kind of turned, because a lot of mindset then started to come in. And that's when I realized, okay, Susan, there has been a common theme throughout your teenage years and early 20s. There was a lot of um, anger, not dealing with things. There was a lot of, with the bereavement, there was stress, there was sadness, and the common theme was my MS progressing. And then when I was given that breathing room through the treatment, um, and saw that actually, you can do it, really just sparked on my life then.
Mm.
So eventually I got to the end and what have you, and back and forth. Then I go by myself, and then I tackle the long pier. So yeah, and then a year and a half after that, I went for 3 days of the treatment. So I guess that was, I'm going to say, 4 or 5 years ago, and I haven't had anything since, which is amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, yes. So that has been my entire history, which went on for ages. But I'm really sorry. But there's the full blown insight into Susan Carey's background.
I think you are incredible, and you have such an incredible story as well. Can you tell me a little bit about? Okay, so there was a post that I saw on Facebook or Instagram or
Mhm.
something,
Yeah.
where you decided when you were staying in hospital to make it into like your own gym routine in hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that about?
So I was introduced to the gym through fabulous. There was a fabulous physiotherapist in my local MS branch. She used to come and do home visits. So anyway, the gym was only 10 minutes away from where I lived. So she brought me there one day, and she would do like kind of exercises with me, and then that's how I got into the gym. And I kind of noticed, okay, this is fun. I can, I was so nervous at the start. It seemed massive, and I needed help getting in and out. And sometimes I wouldn't even be able to get in. But eventually I got there. The stairs were a killer for a good couple of months. But yeah, just little bits at a time. And then throughout the years, I met different people and, fitness people, and they kind of showed me things, what to do and what have you. So the gym was kind of, I think, because I couldn't play sport anymore, and I was always so active, that that was a massive loss at the same, and at the same note. Um, it's funny to think of it, but that was a bereavement of itself, having to go through teenage years and not having to do what you absolutely lived for and loved. That was a massive loss to me.
Mm,
So when I found the gym and I found different ways to, I've found like a release, almost get back into your exercise, and the endorphins would come out, those happy hormones, and it felt like a safe place where I could just be Susan, and I could just do my thing and actually progress on something in a safe environment. So it really, really was kind of an outlet for me. I signed up to an online coaching service and went through kind of a plan. So like nutrition, exercise, your generic plan basically. Um, so anyway, I signed up to it, but I had to go in for steroids, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh no, because I loved it, and I saw what benefit it brought to my body, having the structure in my nutrition, having the structure working out, pushing myself within my limits. Looking after my sleep, my hydration, like all these other vitamins. So I felt like, I was buzzing. My body felt amazing, like. And then I had to go to hospital, and I was like, oh no, how am I going to do this? So I was like, look, Susan, hospital food, we all know, isn't the most nutritious. They try, um, but you know yourself. So I was like, okay, shut up, Suze, just do it. So I prepped all my meals. All my meals, I had them all in my little lunch boxes. I had them labeled. So I had that sorted for, I think, 3 or 4 days I was in there. So I had that at home in the freezer. So then obviously for the first day, I would bring in my first day, and I had them all labeled day one, meal 1, 2, 3, and I asked the staff, could I keep each day, could I keep that in your fridge? So then they would say, what do you need? And I'd be like, oh, can I get meal 2 there? So I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then I was thinking my workout. I was like, oh, I have to do something, like lying down in bed. I can't remember the specific issue at the time, but I was okay. I just needed a boost, I think it was, or I'm not too sure. A bit of respite, I think it was supposed to be. I'm not too sure. But because I'm Susan, I was like, no, can't. So I went out to the back stairs. It was nice and quiet. So I made up like a circuit type thing, like using the stairs and having the barrier there for balance, and also incorporating the fact that I had an IV tube onto me. Well, it was disconnected at that time, but I still had the thing in my arm. So I was like, okay, you need to protect that, and okay, your leg isn't great, so you need to protect that. And then I was like, work around what I could, get your workouts in, keep moving, keep it going. So that was amazing at that time. And yeah, so that's in hospital. And since I've been in hospital again, and I did videos. That's probably what you're referencing, is it?
Probably.
Because I had 2 posts at the same time. So that was one, and then the other one, I was like, look, Susan, you're here. Why don't you show people, like, instead of talking about or writing it or whatever, actually show people what they can do in hospital. So again, I had the IV, you probably see it on my Insta, and I was like, yeah, just put out some content there, and hopefully other people will get something from it. And I've given loads of options. So it's good to keep moving, even though you feel like crap. It will be nice if you can. Obviously, if you're bedbound, like, take it easy, listen to your body and rest. I guess it depends on your circumstances.
That's great, though. That's really great advice. And I think it's so important to use what you have around you, especially.
Hmm. That there is no limitations.
No.
There's not. You can always work around stuff. If you have an issue,
Yeah.
there's thousands of other things you can do. Or if you want to do that particular thing, there's thousands of different variations on how to achieve that thing. So like you're not just cut off. You're not just like, oh, sorry, there's no room in the inn. Like, like there's so much you can do. That's what I love about fitness, that
Yeah,
there's no barrier. You can always do something.
absolutely, of course. And so moving on from that, so you created this. So you started to make videos and things. You did your coaching course, and then you started
Mhm.
to to put your own business together and start doing
Yeah.
like your own coaching fitness kind of program, which is
Yes.
amazing. So
Yeah.
how did you start that? How did you start Fit Fusion?
So I was kind of in a crossroads of, I'm not fulfilled in my life. And you sit down and you think, and I was like, I'm going to go off and do a PT course. I love the gym. I'm going to do it. Now I had to use like in you know different things to other people within the course, like step aerobics. I used a mat, things like that. And then coming off the back of that, I was like, I never want someone like me as a teenager feel or being told that they can't do something.
Yeah,
They can do whatever. You can do whatever you want. And I do not, you could see my passion in the picture here. I'm so passionate about it. I'm like, don't let people tell you can't do something. Don't, like, your body is so capable of so much that it's like, okay, I'm going to create this business. This business is going to be for people who feel like they can't because they can. I'm going to be that person. I'm blessed. In a way, I am blessed. I'm so young and I got MS. I was diagnosed with MS so young. So I feel like I have 15 years of experience. I'm only 29. I have a wealth of experience. It would be selfish to keep it to myself. It would be actually doing a disservice to myself.
exactly. Yeah.
So help other people. It's the simple things that I think are so simple are like massive to other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, how can I do that? Whereas I know how to do it and I've overcome it. So I'm like, why is this person freaking out about that? So you have to be a little bit, you have to get your understanding and put yourself back into that time also. And it's these questions, it's like, not that I know the answers to everything, but I would have a wealth of knowledge as well as experience in disability. So it's it's like, Susan, help people. It's just obvious. It's just the obvious thing to do. So I created Fifth Fusion. I work with other people with MS, and I also work with people with other neurological conditions such as Parkinson's. I would work with people with balance issues, ataxia. I also have an online client. So, like, one of my clients is unable to go to the gym, just within safety reasons, and that it's just suitable for her. So I called her home, and we work out in her home, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't stop her, you know. We get the workout done. She probably hates me afterwards, but sure, she'll love me someday. um, yeah. So, and obviously in the gym also. So they're my kind of three services for now. Um, so I work with mainstream people too. I find that very. I find that good. I like that because, and again, they hate me. Because I push them, and I feel I push them way more than I would push anyone else, because I'm like, you can do it. You can actually, you're physically fine. There's nothing wrong with you. So I am going to push you that extra bit. um, but it's good. It is good. And people, like, say with the home visit, it's great. Like, movement obviously is fantastic. It's great, but it's to have someone, it's that hour out of their day where they look forward to someone coming in, someone, I like to think I'm bright and bubbly and, you know, like, cheerful to be around, positive. So that's an
You
hour
are.
where, thank you. So not only are they getting a workout in where they'll feel amazing after,
Mm.
and they, you know, they accomplished something in that day. They've pushed their bodies, and within parameters. I'm not a total sleigh driver, um, but you know what I mean. So they feel accomplished. They feel good about themselves. They also have that social aspect as well, where they have someone there. They can have that hour where they it lightens up their day, you know, and that
Yeah.
personal contact. So yeah, no, it's, I really am enjoying my business, and it's growing every day, which I love, and there's much more to come, and it's, yeah, really exciting things to come to the Fusion. Yeah, so it's really exciting.
It sounds exciting. It sounds absolutely
Yeah,
incredible, and I love
you
the
should come over.
no, I will.
No hassle for an hour training session. Worth the flight.
And I love the fact that you've taken your MS and you've done something amazing with it. That, I think that's just the best thing that you can do. You can't let it win. You've got to, find some other way of making it a positive thing. And
Absolutely,
great.
absolutely. And it was great. It's great to meet other people with conditions and that. It's so good because mostly like, people are so positive. They're so much more positive than your mainstream people,
Oh,
to an
totally.
extent,
Yeah.
because they're grateful. They see what's in front of them. They see what life can do, and they
Yeah.
don't let it surpass them, or to hinder them or limit them in any way. And they're just so grateful, you know. So it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. It really is. So, what do you think has been the hardest part of your journey?
The hardest part of my journey, I guess, is that's you can see my tone is after slipping down from a high there. Um Support, like, as I've already spoken, like, my parents are absolute troopers. They're amazing people. They've gone above and beyond, like, for me, over time and time again. They're just incredible, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for them. So I'm forever grateful for them. My sister is, they're just incredible. Also, the support that they give me. You know yourself, family is, I'm so lucky. I have a very close family unit. extended aunts, uncles. They're great. At 14, you don't know what this is. You're working things out for yourself. You have a lot of contributions, people's views, people's thoughts, which kind of I guess kind of mold your thoughts around MS. It wasn't until there was an MS takeover actually there last weekend on the shift.ms takeover. Amazing. He said that he actually spoke about that, and that his views were because of other people's reactions. And it was only at that point that I realized actually he's so true, because he was also a teenager. And it's like what I found with support. It's great having your parents. It's great when you grow up. It's fantastic, and obviously now your sister's fantastic. It's great. Your cousins, your aunts, uncles. That is all great. Okay, not one of them has MS. Not one of them has MS. So you know yourself. It's great to have support, but they only see visually what's going on. It's the invisible illness. It's the invisible symptoms. It's the, I feel tired. Oh, I was up at 5 a.m. That's lovely. What? I feel, yeah. It's like, oh, we'll just go to town. Oh, really? We'll spend 3 hours traipsing around shops with all different temperatures. That's lovely. I can't wait. I don't think I can go today. All right, Susan. They take a personal, and it's like trying to be there for everyone. And I found over my MS career or what have you, whatever journey, I've been spreading myself thin in order to make others feel okay, or to kind of push myself into a bracket of, oh, I'm there for you, or oh, I'm so grateful for your support, therefore I feel like I need to go above and beyond to thank you. Where you're just spreading yourself too thin there, and it's actually hindering you to a point where you get hit with what I found is I get so overwhelmed and push that I keep going until my body physically like comes to a standstill and says, no, you're not going. And then I have to go to hospital, and then I have to go for steroids. And then that's where those people come back in and go, oh, are you okay? Oh, and we're here for you. And you're like, actually, it's the everyday things. It's the things, if I can't meet for coffee, if I choose to, like I'm quite busy at the moment. If I can't make something, or if I need to cancel, or if I'm in my own world, it's like, I've been told before, like, that I'm selfish. And it's like, I really amn't. You just don't understand. But there comes to a time, and now, I guess, like, what, I'm 29 years of age. I've started my own business. This is something that I want to do, and it's not just for me. It is for other people. It's for those people who feel like they can't, to say, actually, no, you can't. To be that empowering figure in someone's life where they actually reach their potential and they break through barriers that they didn't even think that they could break through. It's like, yes, actually, I do have to be selfish, because in order for me to be selfish at this time, I am helping so many other people that you can't see around you. I will be helping a whole host of people, and you need to have that time. And sometimes that's where I struggle. That's where it's the support. It's the kind of, it's the sport of, oh yeah, Susan, go for your dreams. But then when you go, it's like, oh, you have no time for us now. So I really feel like there's a lot of they only it's the invisible, like I said, coming back to the invisible illness. It's the actually, no, I need to sit down for 2 hours. I need to actually go to a coffee shop with my notebook, listen to my ebook, listen to, or sorry, listen to my ebook, my audiobook. Take that time. And that is as important as lying in bed for 12 hours to some people. I need that time in the coffee shop. I
Mm,
need that time in my car. I need my alone time. I need to respect that because I can't help those other people if I'm not okay. So I
exactly.
find
Yeah.
that's where what I find the most difficult is trying to explain to these wonderful people in my life at the front line, trying to explain to them that although you see me running around the place all the time, it's like, oh, you have so much time for those other people. It's like their factor. I need a calendar. I can't do anything without my calendar. So if I'm meeting a friend, I need to slot her in, which I know is horrible on the outside, but I know you
No.
get it. And I know other people with illness get it.
Mm,
You need to factor in that time and create these boundaries for yourself in order
yeah.
to live a full life. To have, okay, I'm putting that hour away for me. I'm putting those 2 hours away for business. I'm doing this with that person. You need to allot it in order to manage. It's on management. I try to
It is.
understand, struggle
Yeah.
with at times.
It is. It is really hard,
Mm.
especially when, like you say, if you're, um, if you have a calendar that you are particularly like, everything kind of revolves around my calendar. I don't know about you, but like I even schedule in time to rest and things. And if people come to
Yes.
me and say in the spirit of the moment, "Oh, let's be spontaneous. Let's go out here, or let's go over there, or let's go for coffee, or whatever," I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's great, but it's not in my calendar, so I actually can't do that." And they're like,
Yes.
"Why?" You're like,
Yes.
"You don't get it. It's an energy management thing." And it's,
Yes.
oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Otherwise, if you don't do that, not only will you wear yourself thin physically, but mentally also. And then
Yeah.
you can't be present and you can't enjoy their company because you know that you should be doing something else. And, you want to spend quality time with the person, not just passive time, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. So what advice would you give to teenagers specifically who are newly diagnosed with a chronic condition, people who were in your position a while ago, and yeah, what would you really say to them in terms of how to cope with it?
It's great asking your family and friends, but sometimes they don't know the correct answers, or they want to give you the best view. They don't want to say, oh, and they might not even know, so I
Mm,
would, or even connect with someone online. I know it feels stupid. You might feel like, oh god, I can't message them, but why? Like, these are the people that's why they're putting themselves out there. They're
yeah,
putting themselves out there to say, look, it's okay. MS, all in all, isn't actually the worst thing. It's so manageable, and there's medications coming out like all the time.
yeah,
From like the time I was diagnosed to now, it's like, wow, I wish that was available when I was diagnosed. So it's actually, and this is awful, not a good time. It's never a good time to get diagnosed with MS. But in this era, I feel like there's just so much out there, and there's so much potentially out there. There's constant trials and research, and new information coming out all the time. For me, I didn't surround myself in the research throughout my whole entire MS. It was actually only 2 years ago that, sorry, last year. Last year, I went to my first national meeting, because, and um, even with some clients, I still don't know everything that's out there, because I chose not to research. I chose not to do that. I chose to just gauge on me and how I was feeling. Um, do I regret that on some levels? I think I could have made things a lot easier for myself if I did speak up. If I did say, note those little things of my feelings. Um, like I was definitely just right. Like every day I'd be my journal. I journal. So I write these things, like even if it's in my phone or a voice note. Voice notes work great. Into your little thing instead of, keeping a diary or whatever. Like, do you know what? I feel a bit crap today, and just venting, even if it's to yourself on your recorder, vent away for the day.
Oh, totally.
I would, yeah, and it actually really helps. So when they say talk about it, I talk to myself about it. And then, like because the support network wasn't there for me, I would definitely, I think online is the way. I really do. Like, connect with those people at the forefront, like yourself, I am more than welcome to speak to anyone. There is no problem. I have actually gone and met people that have
Yeah.
connected with me, and it's all part of the process. Like, I'm not saying I'm a out and loud MS or anything like that, and that's all I talk about, because it's not.
It does get easier. It really does get easier, and that's
Yes,
what
it
people
does.
don't say enough. I think is that like being
Mhm.
diagnosed is hard because you're having to come to terms with like a new you almost, but it does
Yes,
get
yeah,
easier, and you will get used to it.
yes.
So, okay, Susan, are you ready for some super quick secrets?
Bum, bum, bum.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, enabled warriors, we've talked about some heavy stuff today. Let's have a little bit of fun before Susan goes. This is the part of the show where we find out a little bit more about the personality of our guest with some super quick secrets. Are you ready for this, Susan? Let's
That's a
do
yes.
it. Yes. Okay, what is the most inspiring book that you've ever read?
So I don't read. I don't read books. I kind of have a bit of brain fog, and also I just fall asleep. So I just don't read them because I can't consume the info. Um, I'm a very visual person, so I like YouTube. I really love YouTube. So I would listen to anything of the law of attraction, basically. Like, Will Smith is amazing. Like, anything that he does is just incredible. I really enjoy his content. Um, Audiobooks, then I would be, because I'm in my car quite a lot. And I can consume information in my car whilst driving. I don't really listen to the news, so I find it negative. So I listen to audiobooks. At the moment, I am 10 hours in to You Were Born Rich by Bob
Wow.
Proctor. I really enjoy that book. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. Again, things like anything to do with the law of attraction, the universe and the secret, things like that. On Netflix, I haven't read the book. I will be out there and say it, but that's the information I consume
That's awesome.
mostly.
Love that. So, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever done? Oh,
um,
it's always good when someone starts laughing.
if I had to choose one, I don't know. Like, I am loud and proud. I am weird, and I love it. I love my personality. But recently, we'll just go from recently, I think, because there's just so much. But recently, recently, the kind of strangest thing I have done is actually in Bucharest at MS sessions. This girl that started following me on Instagram maybe a year or two ago. She actually has MS as well. She's from the UK. So we would have just liked each other's pictures, or she might have messaged me going, "Oh my god, she'd be into CrossFit and that," and I'm like, "Oh my god, your lift was amazing," things like that. So anyway, at the introduction dinner in the meet and greet, after maybe a glass or two of vino, I said, "Okay, I think I see that girl." So I went over and I was like, "Hello." Anyway, after a few bits of a chat, we decided that we do a press up challenge. So you would press up and then clap the alternative hand. You'd be facing each other. So that was like wildfire, because after that, 5 minutes after meeting one of the speakers at the event, a doctor, we ended up doing that. And then that just continued, and that was kind of the tone of the weekend. So I guess that was pretty out of the box weird, but it was kind of like, I found my people here. I love this. So, yeah. there you go.
I love that. That is so funny. And that was really funny watching you to do that, to be honest.
Thanks very much. I'm glad you did good.
What is your favourite place that you've ever visited?
My favorite place. So I haven't done a lot of traveling. My favorite place actually is that beach, that port that I was on about, Phoenix. It's actually one of my favorite places in the world because it's so symbolic to me, and it is like the front of Phoenix, the pier. Obviously, walking with my dad, I have that nostalgia and that conquering moment. Then on the other side of that beach was where my aunt taught me about the law of attraction. So again, that's a milestone in my life. So Phoenix as a whole is my absolute favorite place in the world.
That's amazing.
And that's Beautiful. Only now 15-20 minute drive.
That's incredible. So what is the scariest thing that you've ever done?
With MS or just in life?
Anything. Absolutely anything.
Well, I'm after organising a corporate skydive for next year, so I guess that will be scary. But it's for MS, so it's fine. I did an abseil actually off Croke Park Stadium. Croke Park is the main stadium in Ireland. So yeah, it was in aid of MS. Abseiling is supposed to be with a wall, but there was no wall. So basically, I was just dangling freely off the scoreboard, the back of the scoreboard. So I guess that was scary that way. Yeah, that was pretty scary. Happy I did it. Would I do it again? Probably not. Why I'm doing a skydive, I do not know. But sure, it's for charity. It's not about me. It's about others. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So where can other warriors find out more about you and what you do?
So I am more active on my Instagram. That would be my most active channel, I guess. So that's where you find me. I'm Coach Susan Fit Fusion. Okay. That's on Instagram. Also, you can head on to my Facebook page. Again, Fit Fusion. Susan Carey, I think it is, or Coach Susan Fit Fusion. You can link that anyway.
So Enabled Warriors listening, you can go and find Susan on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is at Coach Susan Fit Fusion. I will also, of course, link everything in the show notes at the top. And it has been amazing to talk to you today, Susan. Thank you so much. And remember,
thank you so much. I had such a great time. Thank you.
Amazing. Remember, warriors, stay enabled. Thanks, Susan. Bye.
Bye.
If you want to fight back against your invisible illness and help take the dis out of disability, then join the tribe on Facebook, facebook.com/enabled warriors. If you love this podcast, click that subscribe button and never miss another episode. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.